Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 and specifically a week after I got my Switch 2. So obviously you can tell there's a few differences between this and what my Switch 2 originally looked like. If you haven't seen the previous video, go check it out. This was the last video I did on the channel, and then come back and watch this afterwards. I'm really sorry guys, I've been having a few health issues, which is why I have not been around, and I am really sorry for that. I've been really stressed out about it and I haven't made a video, so I'm really sorry. But here we are. It's only been a week. Admittedly it's been a week and 4 days, but I had to go to the doctors on Tuesday and I've been quite busy since then. Health, I've got a few health problems. I don't think it's anything major. I've just been having heart palpitations and irregular heartbeats, and my heart rate is randomly really high sometimes, and then it will go back to being low. So they've just got to take my blood and things like that, and do blood tests, ECG, just to verify. But because I'm perfectly normal and it doesn't affect me really in any way other than I'm getting a bit of discomfort while trying to sleep, it's not going to be anything dramatically bad, or I'm not going to have a serious problem. So there's nothing to worry about. If it is a physical problem, such as arrhythmia or something like that, which are quite common, certain arrhythmias are quite common, I'm just going to get medication for it and get it sorted out. If it's more psychological and it's more my stress and my anxiety and the heat taking over, it's going to be a cardiologist, and they're going to try and get my heart rate back to a normal level at all times. So it's not a problem. There's nothing wrong. Realistically, I will be fine. But yeah. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the Switch 2 anyways. So like I said, a week of having the Switch 2, and is it still worth it now? So now that the initial excitement of the Switch 2 is out of the way, because last week when I first got it I was so excited for it, and yeah, it made me really happy to have the Switch 2, because it's sorry, I've got a new case for it as well, which I will show you guys in a minute. I just want to make sure it's closed so you guys can see it properly. I've got everything now for it, realistically. I have my sticker skin, which I've shown on camera. Here you go. I've got screen protector on it now as well. And I have a case, which is a nice one. I got this off AliExpress. Do not buy the expensive cases, they're like 30 quid plus, just due to the fact that how new the Switch 2 is. You can get this for like £8, so I would say go for that. I got the sticker skin for £3. So another thing that I also got that is very brand new on the Switch 2, you can see it there, I got the micro SD express card. So that is one thing to talk about in today's video. You know what, I might stand the Switch 2 up here. There you go, just as to put it in the video. Right. We're going to go through different categories of whether I think the Switch 2 is worth it or not. So, number 1, hardware. Have I noticed any differences in the Switch 2's hardware? To be perfectly honest, no. Obviously there's been upgrades to some games, like mostly Zelda stuff, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I have Breath of the Wild, but I never installed it onto here, personally. The reason I never installed it onto here was because Breath of the Wild, I may be wrong and I don't want to be mean to anyone in the Zelda community, it's not kind of the game for me. I have the game, I bought it, I played it for a little while, and I didn't understand it, and it was kind of more of annoying for me than a fun game, so I gave up with it. Uh, I don't hate the game. Don't want anyone to think I hate the game. I just, it's not the game for me that I personally would play. Um, when playing games like Mario Kart Worlds, there is a very slight improvement. Very slight. I don't really see much difference between playing that and Mario Kart 8. Some people say there's a major difference, and some people say there's barely any difference. I'm one of the ones that say barely any different. Um, there are obviously other games that I haven't tried out yet, like Cyberpunk 2077, and apparently that runs a lot better on this version than it does on the Switch 1, because I don't know if there is a Cyberpunk for the Switch 1. I may be wrong. I might just have to quickly look that up, because I may be wrong. Um, but I knew that there was. I swear I thought I saw one before. Um, okay, so maybe there isn't one for Switch 1. Okay, my bad. I thought there was, but there wasn't. Um, that's why I wanted to double check. Uh, now that it's been released on Switch 2, I've seen gameplay footage of it, but I have not bought it yet because of how expensive it is. I could have bought it today, but I decided to buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe instead, because I wanted that more, because I had it before, but I didn't have it anymore because of my MODDED system that I did last year, or the beginning of this year. I think it was at the end of last year I did it. And so I sold my physical copy of Mario Kart 8. I still had the booster course, the booster course pass, which still showed up in my library, my game cartridge library, my virtual one. But obviously, because I didn't have the game, it was just DLC, so I couldn't do anything with it. And the only reason I had that was because I went into Curry's PC World for something. I don't remember what it was for, but I went in there for something, and then I saw that the booster course pass was going. It was a download code, or like redeemable code kind of thing, and it had stickers in it, and it was going for £15 instead of 30. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it for half the price. So I bought it and I got it. I still had the physical cartridge, so obviously that still worked with it. But do I notice anything groundbreaking? No, I really don't. I think the Switch 2 is good in its own right, and I do enjoy playing it, but do I think the hardware is groundbreaking? Absolutely not. I think it's kind of mid, and obviously it's nowhere near as powerful as the PS5, and I was never expecting that due to like the limitations of handhelds these days. Nothing has ever been as powerful as a full-on gaming PC, and you could argue a Steam Deck, but even then I still find that's more chunkier than the Switch 2. It's more of got like a bigger back than this. But yeah, I feel like the Switch 2 is more comfortable holding in my hand than a Steam Deck would be. So, do I notice any hardware differences? No, not really. Playing Mario Kart Worlds, it feels like I'm playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe visually, and I mean, obviously the game's different. I like the idea of, most people don't like it, but I like the idea of having highways in between racetracks, and I like the idea of the last lap being that track. Originally, I was going to call them lazy, because I felt like that quite a lot of the time they were just reusing tracks that they've already done. But then I realised that they actually had to like create all of those highways. So like Bowser's Castle, for example, that was on the Wii. It wasn't just a track; you were going on a highway to that track. So it wasn't actually like lazy. They had to recreate that whole thing. The only thing that they really reused was the last lap, because at the end of every track you have to do one lap of that track as like the final lap. But yeah, I haven't played Cyberpunk yet, so I can't really say, and the only games that are like available for upgrades is Zelda, and I rarely play Zelda, so I'm not going to buy the upgrades. So yeah, do I think it's worth it for the hardware? Right now, in this position that I'm in, because of the lack of games we have that are specifically designed for the Switch 2, right now my opinion is no. You'd be better off, like, at this point, the hardware is the same really on the Switch 1 if you're playing certain games. So I don't think that the hardware for this is really been shined yet because of the lack of games that we've had. We've only got 4 real games out at the moment, which is Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk, Fast Fusion, and a new Donkey Kong game that's coming out, which has not even come out yet. I think it's Donkey Kong Bonanza or something like that. But you've also got to understand, every single mainstream game that is on the Switch 2 is £60. Like, it's no joke, it's 60 quid. Every single game. Every new game that's coming out is 60 quid. I wouldn't be surprised if Tomodachi Life 2 is around that same amount of money. They've actually gone up in a lot of the money by a tenner. Like, every mainstream Switch 1 game is 50, and now pretty much every single one that I've encountered is around £60, if not £1 difference. But yeah, next thing to talk about, screen. See this giant screen? Most people are complaining about the screen size, that it's not big enough. I think the screen is fine. I really enjoy playing in handheld mode. I think it's the best screen I've seen so far. You guys might hate me for saying this, but when I was playing on my friend's Switch OLED, I didn't really see a difference. Like, I have a normal Switch. I had a normal Switch 1. This was a few years back, like when the Switch was really halfway through its life cycle. Well, I mean, it's still supported, obviously, but I mean, like, between now and this one. Do I, like, notice the differences on OLED? Barely. But then again, I'm not always the guy that focuses on resolution. I don't look at a console and think, boo, that is not 4K graphics. I don't look at consoles like that. Because I've also grown up on a lot of the older stuff, and most of the time I think older is better. Like, I grew up on the Wii mostly, and like, it's amazing to think about it, because when you're actually playing the Wii, your eyes actually get used to it. And what I mean by that is, when you first turn on the Wii, especially now in 2025, you'll think, bloody hell, the graphics are awful. But then when you start playing it more, you kind of just get used to it, and it doesn't look like it's awful anymore. Like, I remember booting up Lego Pirates of the Caribbean on the Wii a few weeks ago, and I was like, bloody hell, this looks bad. Like, and now the reason for that is because I've played it on the 360. I've played it on PC. Like, not too long before that, I completed the entire game on PC, and it was like much higher quality. And so I think the Wii is usually running at 4080p, 480p, yeah. And on my computer, I'm running at 1920 by 1080p, so I'm running it at a high resolution and at full graphics, like full intense graphics, because Lego games, they can run on i3 processors on computers, and they run really well. As long as you've not got like Windows XP, they'll pretty much run, especially the older ones. I think for the screen, it's really good. I much prefer playing this in handheld mode than I do with my Switch 1. So, the Switch 1, when you get used to the screen, you're kind of like, yeah, it's fine. But I would often play it docked because it was better that way. Now, if I want to watch TV and I want to play games, I'll be like, sure, I'll pick up my Switch 2 and I'll play it handheld while I'm just laying in bed. That's like my typical thing that I'll do. I'll be like, oh, look, it's 11 p.m. I'm not going to go to bed for 2 hours, because usually my sleeping pattern is like usually sleep between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I'll get up at like 10, 11 the next day. So I'll hop on the Switch 2, and I'll play games, whether that be Mario Kart, Batman Arkham City, or whatever it is. I've recently deleted my save data for Batman Arkham City and was just like, you know what, I'm going to start fresh on the Switch 2 and see how it looks and see how it feels in handheld mode, pretty much. Not really done it on TV because that's like besides the point. If you do it on TV, it's kind of just playing it on the PS5. Like, it's like playing the remastered version. There's barely any difference. Because of the oldness of the game, it runs smoothly on the Switch 1 as well. It runs exactly the same. In handheld mode, it's fantastic. I love it more than anything. Never experienced a single stutter. Mortal Kombat 1 runs really well in handheld mode. Graphics aren't upgraded, but the loading times are severely decreased, and I genuinely feel so much better playing on the Switch 2 than I did with the Switch 1 screen. So is it worth it for the screen? Yes. The screen, absolutely. Right, next category, battery. Now this is the weakest part of the Switch 2. The battery is bad. Even playing games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch 1, you would often get at least 4 hours of battery out of it. This lasts 2.5 hours on Mario Kart World. I have noticed that on other games, it lasts longer. So if I'm playing a Switch 1 game, I managed to play Batman Arkham City and complete the whole of the beginning, and I got all the way to where you have to, if you know Batman Arkham City, where you have to get to the ninja and place a tracker on her. And I got all the way to that, and I got all the way to the Ra's al Ghul fight, and I came out of the Ra's al Ghul fight, and I got back to the surface, and I stopped playing after that, and that's usually about 3 hours into the story, 3 to 4 hours into the story, and my Switch was on 33%. And that's pretty good. Like, that is what I would normally expect from a handheld. I don't expect too much, but with that, that's reasonable. That is really reasonable, right? And it still wasn't dead. I probably could have gotten another hour and a half out of it before it hit 10%. So I'd say it would have lasted almost 5 hours. And that's fine. Like, handhelds use a lot more power because they're handhelds. Like the 2DS XL, that doesn't die really fast. That actually lasts longer than this. That lasts up to 8 hours. Like, I could be playing Lego Batman 2 from 12, like, let's just example, 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. and it would still only just be about to die at that time. Most of the time I play that for 2 hours. Like, if I want to play a few levels in Lego Batman, I'll play it for 2 hours. And I'm talking about Lego Batman 2, like the 3DS one, not the original. I will be playing it, and it won't die. It literally won't die. Even if I play 2 hours, the bar is still full for battery life. Do I think that they could have done a better job with the battery? Absolutely. I think that the battery in this is not great. Not bad, but not great. I think that they could have maybe made this a bit thicker and added a bigger battery in there or something like that. That would have been a lot more beneficial for this console. Obviously, we're not going to get a better battery unless they release an OLED model and then take that into consideration, as I do think that they improved quite a lot of things on the OLED model over the original. So, but is it worth it for battery life? Absolutely not. No. So we have the first category of hardware. Is a no. The screen size, yes. And battery life, no. Next is games. If you're going into this with a big library of Switch games, it is definitely worth it. Because of just simple upgrades that from playing intense Switch 1 games that shouldn't have even belonged on the Switch 1, like Mortal Kombat, for example. Mortal Kombat should have never been on the Switch 1. Even Mortal Kombat 11, like, that actually used to be my go-to version. But when it first when it first came out for the Switch 1, it was horrendous. Like, it was constantly stuttering. There was lots of bugs. And I knew because I had it for. I had it like a few months after it released, because I think it came out like earlier that year, and this was like in 2020, I think, which makes sense because obviously the new one released less than a year ago, and it takes a while for them to make the games. So I got it at Christmas. Mortal Kombat 11 digital because it was released and I had some money. Someone gave me an Amazon gift card voucher and I bought the game on the Switch 1. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to play it immediately, just literally because of the storage space. It required more than the system memory had, which was only 32 gigs. But yeah, if you're going into the Switch 2 with a big library of Switch 1 games, definitely worth it. If you don't, and you have a lot of money that you can waste on Switch 1 games, then yes, this is also worth it. But if you're going into this buying a whole new console with just Mario Kart World included, is it worth it? No. Because the prices for Switch 2 games are insane. And also Switch 1 games are still the same prices. You would have thought, well, you bought a Switch 2, maybe they would lower the prices of like Super Mario Odyssey to like 30 quid or something, just due to you upgrading, and they're not. It's still the same price. So 3 out of 4 of those scenarios is a good. So for this category, it's a yes. Games is a yes. People complain there's not enough Switch 2 games out. Yeah, well, tough shit, because we are going to get more, obviously. It's not like, oh, well, the Switch 2's released now, no more games are coming out. We've got Tomodachi Life next year, the second one. That is a game that I'm 100% buying. That is one game that I'm so excited for, and I probably will pre-order it before it even comes out, so that it will download. So, 2 on 2 now. 2 yeses and 2 nos. Next, storage. Do I think the storage for this console is good? No. I don't. Because, yes, the Switch 2 and Switch games are nowhere near as big as games like PlayStation games and things like that. It's like 20 gig for a game. But when you have as many games as I do, it is not very useful. I think that they should have given us 512 gigs, and I would have been more happy with that. And they could have done. It's just Nintendo being stingy by making you get their SD cards and stuff. I think they should have given us 512 gigs for how much this console is worth, and then given us another 512 gigabyte SD card on launch day, so that you have over a terabyte that you can get. So, admittedly, I got 30 games on this system before buying an SD card, which I got last week in game. I got 30 games on here, but majority of the games I do have aren't huge. So I didn't install huge games. I installed Lego games, which are big sometimes. Like the newer ones, like Skywalker Saga, are 15 gigs. Incredibles is 19 gigs. And then Lego Harry Potter is also like 19 gigabytes. So it's a big, like those are big games. So I did install those. But Mario games, they're not big. They're like 10 gigs. So, yeah. It's not good when it adds up, especially if you've got like games like Assassin's Creed, like the Rebel Collection, which includes like Rogue and Black Flag, I think. They take up 20 gigs. So essentially, you're looking at getting like 20 to 30, like if you have a mixture of big and small games, 20 to 30. If you're looking for big games only, you're going to get 15 on there. So, do I think it's worth it right now? Not really, for the storage. However, you can expand on storage space, which is what I have done. I have, if you look down there, you see a little red thing. That is the micro SD card express that I've got. The problem with that right now is that is the only one available. You can go online and get one by Lexar, which also provide SD Express for 1 TB, but you're basically paying almost the same as a Switch 2 to buy one of those. And there are a few on eBay that you can get. Most of them are sold out because they were pre-ordered when the Switch 2 was coming out, because you had to get the micro SD Express. But for an official one, there are no other ones out right now. So you literally are stuck getting a 256GB one. That's double the amount of storage. So I've got about 60 games installed on here now. Considering my library, I have over 230 games. I thought I had 300, but it tells you now how many you've got. I've got 230. Still not getting half my games on there. So, admittedly, having 60 games installed, you might think it's a good thing. For me, not really. I like having the option of just downloading all the games at once, installing every single one of them, which I was really able to do before with the 1 TB SD card I had, and just being like, I want to play this today, and I just boot on the game. Whereas now I have to be more stingy about it and be like, well, I need to complete this game first so I can delete this and then put this on here. And it's becoming more of a nuisance for me. So storage space right now, ultimately, if you don't decide to pay like £300 for a 1 TB SD Express Lexar card, is it worth it? No, because you're only getting 512 gigs. So there's 3 no's, 2 yeses. So another thing, the virtual game card system, is that worth it? In a way, I see why Nintendo are doing it, and I completely understand why they're trying to stop piracy and they're trying to, stop these things. And to be fair, I agree. I actually agree with that. I like the virtual game card system. I like it. It's very satisfying to me. And yes, before you say anything, you own the games. Well, the ones that you buy on the eShop, you own them. It's a virtual game card. It says that, but realistically, what happens is it will say virtual game card loaded. It will pretend it's a physical cartridge. It will go through the system and it will start downloading on your home screen. You own those games. I understand the problem that people have with the physical ones, saying that when you get the game, you only get the license for it. You don't actually, you're playing it through a server kind of thing, rather than when you had Mario Odyssey, for example. On the physical copy, you own the game. It just started. They might have to download an update, but it just worked. I don't mind the system because all my games are digital. They're all digital copies, so it's still doing the exact same thing I did before, which is downloading the digital version of the game. So it generally didn't make a difference to me. I felt it was exactly the same. But I had trauma with my physical Switch cartridges. I went to therapy one week and I had my Switch on me and I had the case, but I accidentally forgot to pick up the case and I lost basically £150 in games because I had 3 mainstream games in there, which were Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, and Mario 3D All-Stars. So those 3 games are worth a lot of money, and considering Mario All-Stars you can't get anymore unless you get the physical copy of the game, was also really annoying for me. Unfortunately, when that game stopped being supported, I hadn't even got my Switch yet, so I couldn't have even bought it if I wanted to because I didn't have an account. But yeah, I mean, they're fine to me. I mean, I don't understand Nintendo's point of view with not just letting you play the game though. With the physical copy, you have to download the virtual older game license for it to play it. Does it affect the gameplay? No, it's still exactly the same. So, do I understand why Nintendo has done it? Yes. The one thing I will say is apparently sometimes, from what I've heard online, I've not had this problem, but if you plug in a third-party controller, which I actually have one that I used on the Switch 1, they say that because the voltage slightly changed, that Nintendo have banned them completely from the system. It's only on the system. They don't ban your account, so you could buy another one essentially. But with companies like CEX, they're a lot less likely to take them back, even if you have a valid reason. Like, because they have no way of knowing whether you tried to jailbreak the console or whether you just typically plugged in a controller and you got banned. So they won't take it back. You would have to buy an entire new one, and then selling your old one would be useless because the system is banned itself, not your account. So I plugged in my third-party controller today, and I was kind of risking it because I didn't know if they were going to ban me for it. And I plugged it in, and it was fine. There was no problems. I connected the controller wirelessly, Bluetooth, and I also connected it with a cable as well, just to make sure it was working, and it was fine. No problems. Didn't experience any issues. So for me, that's a yes. That's fine. I don't understand what people's problems are with it. Another few things I want to address. The Switch 2 is ridiculous in money. I would only get it if you're like I did with mine. You sell older consoles that you don't really touch anymore, or something like that. Like I sold my Wii U, my PS Vita, and an old phone to get this. But it's a really weird situation because there's a lot of positives about this, but also a lot of negatives. I've spent a long time on the Switch 2. I'm not going to lie and say I haven't. Every time I get home and I want to play something, I will go on the Switch 2. If I feel like playing a game of Mortal Kombat when I'm on my way to my therapy session, I will play it. I will have it on me, and I'll still come back with 70% of battery. And I'm usually gone for 2 hours. So, yeah. And I also have been really enjoying myself playing Switch Sports again, because before, when I had an MODD system, I couldn't play online, so I didn't really play it as much. But now that I've got the online capabilities again, due to the fact that I paid for a year of online, it's really worth it. In total, I've spent almost £600 on this system, or something like that. No, maybe I lie. Maybe it's 400. No, 400. Okay, 400. Okay, sorry, my bad. 500, because I also bought Mario Kart World, and that was insanely expensive. I'd say I spent 430 quid on the system, 450 around that mark. It's closer to 500. And the reason for this is a very expensive console. Yes. I actually bought Mario Kart World from Curry's PC World because I wanted it at that moment, and they were only doing it in voucher for Curry's, so I bought the game and I was like, you know what, I'll play it, and I showed you guys last week. So the next day I actually went to CEX and sold the physical copy of the game, because it was actually more expensive to buy the cartridge than it was to buy it on the store. And because CEX, this is one of the latest games ever released, they're giving you the same in cash or voucher. So I got the cash from it, I gave it to my family member, and they transferred me the money, and I just bought the game. That was literally all I did, because ever since that day where I lost my physical copies of the games, I don't want to have a physical copy of a game unless I absolutely have to. So if I wanted a game that I can only get for a physical copy, and the only game that I know that I have to get a physical copy for is Super Mario 3D All-Stars, I will literally open this slot, put that game in there, and never take it out. That is the only time that I would buy it, and I would only get one physical game to do that, and that will probably be the game that I will do it for. So it will be on my system, but it will it would only be in there 24/7, pretty much. Um, is it worth it for the price? It's a mix between yes and no. If you want the next generation experience and you're thinking, I really want to Switch 2, and you are a Nintendo fan, like I am, I've been growing up with Nintendo for years. Like, my first era of consoles was the Wii, which realistically is not too it's like 4 generations now. I think it goes the Wii, the Wii U, 3DS, Switch. Oh yeah, so Switch 2. So 5 generations. Um, I mean, if you're talking about home consoles, 3 generations. If you're talking about handhelds and stuff as well, you could count the DS and the 2DS and things like that. But Nintendo released consoles a lot quicker due to the fact that they have handheld ports as well for consoles and things like that. If you're a Nintendo fan and you've been playing Nintendo for years since my era, or even if you're before that, Super Nintendo or NES, the classics, and you enjoyed the Switch 1, go for it. I'd say there's nothing to lose. I mean, you'll lose a sum of money, but you'll have a great experience out of it. If you're not a Nintendo fan, but you want to try a Nintendo product, do not buy the Switch 2. That is not worth it. Because I would recommend going for something, if you're looking for a good Nintendo product that barely had any issues, or one that had real life in it and everyone loved it, I would say if you're looking for a handheld, go for a 2DS XL. If you're looking for a home console, go for the Wii. Those are the 2 consoles that I would really suggest you go for. Obviously it's different because this can play both. So this is that and also a Wii, but better. So if you're looking for a console that is worth it for, you want to play the Nintendo experience and play the classic Mario and play, the really good Marios, go for that. Go for the Wii. Because they also can be MODDED pretty easily. They don't require much. And you can get all those classics for a really cheap amount of money. So I went all out for this experience. I bought this console itself. I bought Mario Kart Worlds, and I have a sticker skin for it, which I showed already. I have the SD card. There's even a screen protector on it. You can see at the bottom here there's a little bubble. I can't get it out. I've tried. But it's fine. It doesn't really matter. And I got this. Switch 2 Mario case. Basic and great. Got them off AliExpress. I got the sticker skin off AliExpress. I got the screen protector off AliExpress. And I bought the case off AliExpress. I would recommend going on AliExpress and getting a case, because this is actually a hardback case. It feels really nice. It's good quality, and on top of that, it's got these nice dungaree things for Mario's dungaree. And then if you open this, I'll show you the compartments inside. It's really nice. So this is for extra Joy-Cons and things like that. This is for games, physical cartridge games, and this is where the Switch 2 actually goes. You can technically put the Switch 2 in here as well. It doesn't matter. I personally put it in the bottom here because then if the case accidentally flies open, it won't fall out, whereas this, it could slip out like this and cause damage. But in total, for the sticker skin, I spent £8. For the screen protector, I spent £2. And then for the case, I spent about another £8. So there are expensive ones and specific ones, like Mario Kart World case you can get for £30 on Amazon. It's not bad, honestly. For that, I spent 16 quid, 17 quid on all of this accessories. I also spent 50 quid on the SD card, and I tried everything to get them cheaper. CEX don't have them in stock for any cheaper. they're going for like 52 quid even. So yeah, I'm gonna wait until a bigger storage SD card comes out that isn't ridiculously expensive, like a 512 one, and I'll sell this one, and then get another five. I'll get the 512 one, pay up the difference, because this will probably pay half the difference due to it being half the size, and it's an official one as well, so I'll get more money from it. When they do that, I will upgrade, and eventually when I get to the 1 terabyte ones, I will upgrade to that. But even then, I'm probably going to be stuck with this one for at least a year before being able to do anything else. But yeah, overall, do I think it's worth it? Yes, but only for the reasons I've stated. If you're looking for a console that you just want to play on the go, but you don't really want to pay ridiculous amounts of money for a console, this is not the one for you. I would recommend picking up either a 2DS XL or a Switch 1, but even then I would recommend going for a 2DS XL, because even if you buy a Switch 1, you're still going to have to buy the games for it, and they're still really expensive. They've upped the price for Switch 2 games as well. They're now 60 quid instead of 50. You would have thought if you bought the Switch 2 that maybe they would lower the price of like Mario Odyssey or Mario Kart 8. You would be wrong. They are still just as expensive, and I spent 50 quid on Mario Kart 8 today because I wanted the game. I could have gotten that or Cyberpunk, but I decided to go for Mario Kart 8 because I'll play that more. But now I have both the Mario Karts on here, so yeah. Next game I'm after is Super Mario Odyssey as well. I really want that. Like the mainstream games I want, I don't have Odyssey anymore. I did have that on cartridge, but then I lost it and I never bought it again. And I did actually have it on my MODD system, and I really enjoyed it, and I played through the whole game again. I still want it though, so that I can play through it again. But yeah, I never 100% completed it either way. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I am enjoying my time with my Switch too. I'm still playing it a week strong. I've been playing, because I had an MODD system, I wasn't able to play Switch Sports Online, and I've been having a great time playing that again. I've been playing Mario Kart Worlds. I've been playing Batman Arkham City in handheld mode. I'm generally having a great time with it. Let me know your thoughts though. What are your thoughts on the Switch 2? Are you still having a good time with it after a week? I know some people are saying bored, and they're getting bored and they've already traded their consoles in. I'm not going to trade mine in. I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm enjoying my time with it. I don't think there's a point in me getting rid of it. But yeah, I've bought a few games on here, and some do go on sale. Don't get me wrong, you get games like Power Wash Simulator, which I've got today, and also, I don't know if it was on the Switch one because I never tried it, but you get, I don't know if it will show up because of how, it's dark out now, but I've got a pin on the system as well. So no one can just get on the system and go through my stuff. But let me quickly. I keep my brightness all the way up because it's better for me to do it like that, and I prefer it. This is what my Switch 2 looks like now. I got these 4 games today: Power Wash Simulator, Poppy's Playtime, Mario Kart 8, and Little Friends, Pets and Dogs, or Pets and Cats. I mean, whatever. I don't know. And I got they do have really good sales on the Switch as well. Even though the mainstream games rarely go on sale, you can get really cheap games on here. You can literally get games for under £1. So if you're looking to expand your library but not looking for some mainstream games but just some games to go through, I would recommend going through the simulator games because they're really fun. I've got quite a few on the Switch. I've got Supermarket Simulator, Cooking Simulator is really fun. I've got a few cooking simulators and a few Shopping simulators. I've got train simulator. I've got flight simulator. I've got police simulator. There's a lot of good simulator games, and also another game that I really enjoy that gets really addictive is Cooking Tycoons. You can get those games for like $1.99 on the Switch store. They're really cheap, and you can get hours out of them to just keep going through levels. They're not like, obviously they're not extremely long games, but they'll take you 5 hours to get through everything. Get all the stars and all the. You've also got to go through them playing with like the controllers, and then you've got to do touchscreen and handheld mode to 100% complete them. But thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate it, and I hope you've stuck around to the end. If you have, please like, subscribe, and comment if you're new. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.